from our week 2 cast. We are here with Jerry and Donna Maggio.
Hey,
Hey guys.
Hey, everybody.
How's it going?
We're doing great.
Yeah.
We are living in Arizona 10 years later, and here we are. Still, still kicking, and here hanging out with you guys.
Yay!
Excellent. So thank you so much for joining us on this. And you were 2 of the stars of Finding Night, week 2 of the project. Week 2. So 10 years ago, week 2.
You had 50 more weeks to go at that point.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. We were fresh. We were still fresh.
Seriously.
So that was a fun, I think for me, that was a really fun film because it was only week 2. So we were still fresh at it. And it was a mockumentary, and it was all. Oh, can you go over the stats for us
Yes,
as far as
I can.
what the theme, genre, and element were?
Yes. So the theme was day and night. The genre was mockumentary, and the random element was donuts.
I think we nailed that one pretty good.
I think we did.
I
Absolutely.
seem to remember donuts.
The film currently has 1,041 views.
Wow.
Nice.
Not bad.
All right.
Not bad.
Yes.
Is that a record?
We are missing our other castmates, Adam, Dave. Unfortunately, Dave's dad just passed away very recently, and so he really wanted to be a part of this reunion, but wasn't able to. And we are missing Kevin, my sister Kay, who was just with us for the Heart and Souls reunion, and both of my parents.
They made
which
cameos. They made cameos.
may just be one of the funniest parts of the movie for me personally. So that's it. That's all I have in the way of stats.
Excellent. So it was a really fun, I think, time for us because like we came up with the concept, and then because it was mockumentary, in my mind it was kind of like, whoa, it's going to be like Christopher Guest style. So they're mostly improv. So maybe this will be all improv. So there was no script. It was kind of just like, okay, actors, here is who you're playing. Here's the situation you're in. And then when I was doing the interviews, I was kind of behind the camera, just kind of like trying to lead things. But it was mainly just like, go, play, have fun. And then whatever came out of it, came out of it.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff we got was like hysterical. Like there were so many times I remember I was breaking behind the camera, so it ruined stuff because I was cracking up, you know.
We were all learning as we go.
Absolutely.
I definitely remember, like, there were some shots that I was further in the back just watching on my tippy toes all the way like this, just be like, ooh.
Yeah.
Never mind, I just need to leave the room. I can't even watch this.
Yeah, definitely. And like I think one of the coolest things about like just this process in general is that we didn't know you guys that well like before that year. And you came to our Peasants Feast that Christmas before, and then we were like, oh, we need actors, and hey, there's some actors available. Hey guys, do you want to do this stuff? So you really didn't know us that well as well too. And the friendship that grew between the 4 of us out of that year and then all the years since then, like to me is one of my fondest memories of the project, I think as well too.
Yeah, I would agree. And watching you guys grow through that process too.
Yep.
Definitely.
100%.
Yeah.
It's so funny that you say that, Donna, because in the last movie, which I know we're not talking about the last movie yet, but that's okay. In the last movie, we get to the very end of the line that we're like interacting with all the characters, and there's this part where Donna just goes. It was such like a sweet thing because now knowing you so well, I know how much a part of you that movement is, and like what a sweet, genuine like. That was you. That was not you in a character. That was you being like, oh my God, you guys. And
You did it.
like such a sweet moment. So like all these years later to watch that and to recognize that, I was like, oh God, that's so sweet. But again, I'm sorry. I'm talking about the wrong movie.
No, it's okay. Oh.
It's hard to reflect on only one movie when you
is.
have people with you that you're like, you were there for so much of it, you know, like.
Yeah.
Some more than others, but
gotta-
yes.
All right, so let's just get it out of the way
Because it's going
because
to be brought up like
it's-
10 times during this anyway. So.
it's gonna be.
Yeah.
Rip the Band-Aid off. Donna, go ahead. Air your-
I'm just saying that,
Air your
you
grievance.
know,
What are you
I
just?
was readily available.
Not as readily
No, I
available
don't
as
think-
I was. But
Okay, there was a period of time where I might have been performing elsewhere
like 6 months out of the year.
that I wasn't available. But when I was available, my talents weren't being utilized as they should have been.
I think it just wasn't the right characters for you. You know, there just seemed to be characters that were more fitting.
Look,
For me.
I could have played, I don't know, a person with a water balloon at some point, or
That's true.
or I
How are
could,
your Italian skills?
Oh,
you know.
And there you have it.
Je parle français, people. Je parle français.
You could have been a flag waiver villain.
I could have.
You could have, yes.
I could have been a superhero. I am one in my mind.
That's true, and ours as well. So
Thank you. All right.
But I have a
well,
kid.
I think we've also kind of like called out a little bit of bias as well.
yes, I
Because
will admit.
Sean writes for men way more readily than he does for women. And that has been an ongoing conversation with Lena and myself and Sean of like, dude, you need to write more for women. Like, what are you doing, man?
But if he writes what he knows, like, you know what I mean? And so I totally get that, in all honesty. I definitely get that. Because like the movies with Brian and Ed, like those seem to feel so easy for you, you know? Whereas like Christine was just saying, not that it feels like a struggle when you're writing for women, but I definitely could see the ease when you're writing for men.
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, I know it's been an issue of mine for a while. So, but this year there's some things on the horizon which are going to be different. So,
Exciting.
stay tuned.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call it an
Yeah.
issue. I would call it room for growth.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so before we watch it, if you can even remember going back 10 years, what was your experience like making it? Like, because once again, you didn't know us that well at that point, and it was kind of like, come on into our apartment with these random college students that you don't know, and we're gonna just here. You're gonna pretend
Like everyday
what?
life.
Like, what is dusk?
One of which is going to curse profusely.
Yes. So, what was your experience like? If you can remember, like that night we were shooting it. I don't remember how late we went. Probably like in the wee hours in the morning.
No, I think it was actually daytime.
we started in the daytime, but we
Started in the daytime and went tonight. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that one ran as long
As
late
others.
as some of the other ones did. That's for sure.
supper.
I think I remember saying to myself, like, I am not good at improv. And so like I'm good, give me a script and I think much more, whatever, acclimated to that. And so that was really scary. And so it was just kind of like creating a character like from scratch, right? Right on the fly was a little weird, but then as I guess things started to come up and I guess I just started to say stuff, I remember seeing reactions. I'm like, oh, I'm going down the right route, down the right path. I'm like, this is good. I should just keep doing this. And then it just seemed to work. So that was my only recollection, I think.
Exactly like Jerry. I am not skilled in improv. I can come up with stuff like in theater because I'm already in the scenario, if that makes any sense. And like I can get us out of any trouble we get into. But creating that on the fly, I also am an awful writer. So like when I took a theater writing class, I write like I am maybe a 2-year-old child. Like it's bad news. So improvising, it was a challenge, and that's what I did. I did love that aspect of it for real, because who knew what was about to come out of it? And I had no idea even after I had done it, what I'd said. I just remember Christine repeating whatever I had said, and you were like, that was so funny. And I was like, I don't know what I said. I was like, I don't know.
Catnaps.
What
The catnap.
yeah, I I did not remember that, but I just remember you going.
It's a daunting thing to ask someone to do too, because like you don't know what they're going to come up with. Like I didn't really know Adam at that point.
Yeah.
I knew Dave. I always knew was like, oh, he's pretty good at improv. I knew Kevin, but I didn't know he could do improv.
Oh my God.
You guys, I didn't know. So it's kind of like, okay, this could be horrible,
Yeah.
or it could be really funny.
You took like the biggest risk out of anybody.
This could be
I don't know
like
what these guys are gonna do.
the 1980 cast of Saturday Night Live and like the 2007 cast of Saturday Night Live. And you're like, could be good, could be bad. Don't really know.
It's so true too, because like the only reason, I don't want to say the only reason we used Adam, but like Adam and Kay were dating. Like that's how Adam came into our universe. So it wasn't even like, oh, well, this person we've seen in this show. Like I don't even think we had any idea what Adam could do.
No.
And so it was just so like, well, all right.
And we just kind of took the ball and went with it. And it was just like, it kept growing and growing. And like,
I also don't have any idea because you and I don't drink.
No.
So I have no idea where the bottle of wine came from, but I think it's entirely possible.
It was left over from like the holidays.
Left over from the holidays?
Yeah, I think so. No one
Okay.
brought wine. I don't
Okay,
think so.
because Kevin Berger, who played the Sandman, definitely downed an entire bottle of wine, maybe by himself, which would explain his performance. Because it just goes from reasonably peculiar to like, where are you right now? What is
He
happening?
goes off the rails to this place, which is brilliant.
Although
So-
it's still in daylight. The thing he does out in the neighbor's yard is in daylight.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's blissful ignorance. I had no idea.
Yeah, I don't think I knew that either.
Well, I cannot wait to watch this with you guys. So why don't we
Let's
kick
get
off the movie?
started.
All right.
Finding Night.
I'm scared.
I'm scared too.
So many, I'm not sure which is really the appropriate. Wimp! Loser! He left you! That's more than one word, I apologize. That's any one of those words would be appropriate, I would say. In a word, how would you describe that?
Oh, there you go, right out the gate.
Right out the gate. Cursing galore.
That's funny.
I don't even know where this idea came from because it was like just day and night was the theme.
Day and night was a theme in
Yeah.
documentary, and
That's the Bigfoot picture.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Oh, there he is.
Your star.
One can only speculate. I mean, you don't really know what the person does when they leave. I mean, I just say he must have cracked under pressure. You know, I don't understand. Just got up and left. Why are you shining the light on me? I am the daytime. This is what I do for a living. I shine the light. It's a little insulting, you know. I don't mean to offend you. When I turn off, it's going to be a little dark on the right side. No, I don't. Okay, fine. Let's go. No.
Day and night.
Hey!
Interesting relationship. Well, no, there's no conflict because we have our jobs. Day is day, night is night. I'm gone.
I love your outfit in this.
He used to talk about his timeshare that he wanted in the Boca.
the idea that you had had
I don't have time to think about
recently.
where it is. I don't actually give a where. So great wherever he is, but he needs to come back as I am dying. Die. Two or do you know how much it costs to have the sun rise on set? That's a lot of money out of the budget every single day to have that happen.
Got a pillowcase.
Leave it up.
Leave it up.
Leave it up all day. We don't need a night. We cut the night from the budget. And you know what happens?
Working
skills like yourself. We're left without. Let me tell you something.
Kevin was wearing a pillowcase
Yes.
on his head.
Yep.
That's what I asked. Yeah.
I have not seen it in 7 weeks. Yeah, they do have VCRs, but as you know, I have been working 24/7 because that is not around. But those that really couldn't look at what he's done up to this point. But anyway, we don't want to dwell on that. So yes, as being dusk, I mean,
Jerry, did you pick out an orange and black shirt because you were dusk because you weren't going to be?
I don't know. It might have been coincidental. I really don't remember, but I like that sweatshirt. I still have
I do
it.
too. I was thinking that.
take on that role. I mean, I could do it. I mean, I don't understand why anyone's just waiting. I should just be there right now. And you know, I'm patient.
Just going.
I go to little children's
Oh, this is the best part ever.
in their faces and in their noses. And they don't go to sleep because all they see is a man putting sand in their eyes.
My bear is in his pockets.
They always scream.
They always scream.
Right? Right. This is the world. When the children play kickball, I give them light. When they're in the classroom with the pencils, drawing, the light comes from me. You think I can walk around with the Oh, that was what the nighttime was for me and my shows, and now it's gone.
That's doe eyes.
Doesn't matter. It's the best part of the day.
You still have that shirt too, Donna?
Smelling the fresh rose that has
Yep. And that was intentionally picked.
Yes. It's like dewy, sun-kissed.
But that little time is just that much more special.
Oh, this part.
Moment it may be tiny, it is not. It's a broad, large moment. It's a moment. Doesn't go quickly, it
Lingers.
lingers. with girls and cocaine, it's fun. It's a fun time. That's when people have fun. I assume you feel a little put out, abandoned, betrayed.
Here's the line.
Yeah. Oh, he downs that bottle.
There was the line.
Yeah, we would say I wish that either I was mic'd for this entire thing or I did subtitles because you can't even hear what I say.
Yeah.
Mm.
I don't know. Somebody find Night.
This is at our neighbor's house. He eats breadcrumbs
Yeah.
that we had in a camera lens bag. Like, what was all this?
It was super creative.
That it was.
No, I'm working 24/7, and the only time I get off is when the dust guy is doing his thing. So, yeah, let's make it up. How do you feel about
Oh, Ken Crimean.
Just real quick. What do you think?
A star is born.
Look at him. He totally started breaking. He
Yeah.
smiled. All right.
As a person, what do you think about
Best face coming up.
That's why they do it.
Oh my
We
god.
need to make a meme with that face.
Yes. Yeah. Oh.
Oh, I love how Dusk is like just a failed actor.
Seriously.
He's constantly reciting his Shakespeare.
constructive analysis of day is done? Well, taking on the role of Night, of course.
My acceptance speech.
And Jerry, what's that accent? What is?
Of
I
course.
don't even know. It's my Kenneth Branagh, apparently. I don't know.
I literally want to be like a child, like a 4-year-old child with blonde, wavy hair, lie,
Blustery lips. The crap he came up with. So bizarre.
The other day he told me he wanted to hold me like a child with lustfully lips. I don't know.
Ah.
Isn't this about me and about taking on the night? Usually, I try and find.
Oh,
Hey, have a nice day.
Fran Caribbean.
Today the sun is out finally. All the snow. I'm so
Okay,
happy
shut
to
up,
see you.
please.
Oh.
Serious with this? Are you kidding me? I thought we were shooting. Don't you have perimeters around here to keep these people out? No, we're on our way.
These people.
He was so awkward about that scene. He was like,
Yeah.
I'm dating your sister and now I have to curse in front of your mom? Come on.
Oh god.
This is my horrible acting now in this scene. It's pretty cringy.
Meanwhile, 10 years later, you don't look any different.
Exactly the same. I was just gonna say the same thing. Did you record that yesterday?
Fountain of youth.
I'm not going to expose him as far as where is he, but I want to talk to him. To find out what
And
happened.
for some reason, I make a comment about like there was somebody walking a dog, but it looked like they were dragging the dog. So I'm focused on that the entire time I'm jogging.
What's that white stuff in the around the sides of the street?
Oh, you love it. You should get some of it. It's called snow.
Meanwhile, he's
This
saying
is so cringy.
he's saying he wanted to go to the Boca. And he's in like
Yeah, he's
mounds of snow.
Yeah, serious.
that was a boy.
I don't know if he's here.
Why is he in some random apartment?
with Fitzgerald on the outside of the door.
We should
Wow,
count.
your hair's so short.
Yeah, my hair's long right now. Oh,
Hello?
Hello?
Hey. I think someone's here.
Meanwhile, he had the window
Come on,
open.
open up.
yeah, he
We
closes.
just want to talk to you. That's it. We just want to hear your side of the story. We promise. Come on, we just want to
He
hear your
knocked so
side. That's it.
daintily.
We're not going to tell you when you're here. We know you're here. We know you are.
Oh,
You hear that? Go, go.
He's trying to climb out the window.
Night.
this part's great when he throws the snow. It's so powdery.
Yes, it's so funny.
Pretty much throwing it at himself.
It like disintegrates before it even gets anywhere near you.
It's glitter. It's white glitter.
It really is.
Why'd you leave?
And why am I ducking? It's not even coming.
Because it is disintegrating.
Oh, I fell too.
Oh God. It's cold.
I'll talk. There's so many
There's the donut.
that you really don't think are home.
And it is a rainbow, clearly.
Actually, this one.
So cute. Look at those
Those are
dimples.
delicious.
It's like happiness.
It's
We should count how many films we actually shot in this apartment.
Oh my gosh.
got it.
At least half, I'd say.
Well, we're only on week 2, and we've already hit 2 times.
Yeah.
Should also count how many curses are in each of them. Should have a curse counter.
This is really the only one that has like
It's all bleeped out.
any prolific amount.
Oh, really?
You know, he picked up the picture of my nanny,
Yeah.
and I was like, "What is he gonna say? Oh no!"
Birds chirping, not bats. Birds, not owls. Birds.
Birds. Birds, not owls. Birds.
That's my favorite part. 'Cause I said, "Well, owls are birds." You can't hear me saying that. He's
Cloudy
like,
day.
Yep.
But it's great. I mean, you can do all these things out there now. You can have so much fun. Children can play for hours and just enjoy the day.
Oh
Enjoy
God!
the day all day.
this part gets so violent.
Yeah, you should lower it. Actually, it's about to be scary.
Ooh. This Adam's great in this part when I go to touch him.
Why are you so angry?
Where does glasses go?
I think he took them off before the melee, so we didn't break them.
You're so angry all the time. Shut up. Shut up.
The sight of the two of them on the chair and a half. Familiarity.
I can't speak right now because I'm flustered. There were so many choices in that box, and of course you have to choose my favorite one.
Oh, God forbid.
You've been doing that all. Don't even go down.
Don't.
I haven't forgotten my donut for 2,000 yet.
Oh, you're still talking about the Dark Ages. Get over it. There was sunlight during the Dark Ages. Do you not remember that? It's just a term.
Sorry.
Dave's face in that moment so clearly was like, ooh, he got me.
Yeah,
I have
yeah.
access right now. Oh my gosh.
Oh, that was so
That's
fun.
funny.
That was
Stupid
great.
girl. Oh my gosh.
Oh, good time.
Yeah.
Everybody's funny.
Yeah. I mean, for something that like absolutely had no script to it and just came together.
And we had no idea where that was going.
Yay! So we're back after watching the film. So that was fun watching that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like it just the creativity that came out of that. Crazy.
Yeah, and then people just took it to places that like I didn't know people were going to go to because, like we said before, we didn't know what people were going to do with it, and just kind of went off the rails.
Right.
I remember editing this because originally we said that like the films could not be over 10 minutes or 5 minutes.
15 minutes.
15 minutes was it? That might have been after we made this one.
Oh, maybe.
Because I think originally it was like, oh, it can't be over 10 minutes or something like that. And this one is over 10 minutes, and it could have been longer too. I was just having so much fun watching it that I was like, I'm not going to cut that out. Even though some parts could have been cut out, I'm like, I'm going to leave everything in because it's just fun. And we enjoyed making it so much. So, but yeah, that was a fun time.
Mm.
Yeah, that was great.
It is interesting though, Donna. I definitely saw your face every time Adam cursed that you're like, oh, there's another one. But it's interesting because like it kind of brings me back to how many comedians do you and I watch that were like, I'm looking for someone who's funny, not for someone who's cursing. Like, I don't want you to go to a gratuitous place to be funny. I would much prefer like John Mulaney to like Dane Cook for my own personal taste.
Yeah.
Yes, true.
So I do think Adam leaned a little hard.
But I think it works
on that
though because
cursing.
he's playing this bright, sunny character.
Yes.
Supposed to
Oh
be
yeah.
and he's just an angry jerk of a character who's so bitter about everything.
And I have to say, he did such a good job of like looking shot. Like, I don't know what he did to his eyes, but his eyes were actually bloodshot. So he's like, on his eyes, and you're like, oh man, are you okay?
Yeah. And Donna, one thing we were discussing is we watched this like last week or something like that.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh, it would have been cool to see Donna try and play like Dawn as like this bright, bubbly character. But then like when the cameras go off, you see the real Dawn and she's like,
Yeah.
she's like crazy and she's just like nasty person.
Yeah.
We thought of that in the moment and played with that.
Yeah.
But then it might have been too much with Adam because Adam is that way the entire time.
Yes, exactly.
But then everybody would have been that way.
That's true. Well, Kevin's just like a lunatic.
Kevin was just
Yeah, he wasn't pretending to be anything he wasn't. That's for sure. Nope.
the pillowcase is the cream de la
I don't even
cream.
know why. Like, I think we gave him that. Like, oh, this is going to be your sack.
Because that's our pillowcase.
Yeah,
so it's
and then
not like we brought
He
it
just
from
put it
home.
on his head. We're like, oh, this is a sack to carry your stuff in because you're Sandman, and he put it on his head. And like, I remember when he did the blustery lips line, I lost it for like a good 5 minutes. Like, I could not.
It's his
That
intention
was great.
behind it. It's
Yeah,
how
as
he
soon as
says
that
it.
like shot is like, I basically cut that shot because you hear me like just cackle right after he says it. Like, it's done.
It's funny. But like, good on Adam for picking that right up and utilizing it.
Oh yeah.
So good.
And just the contrast of all the characters were so great. It just made it just really, it's like just really came together.
Well, that's what's so funny too, is like because Adam and Jerry could have been similar, and yet we're so different, you know. So
Well, I think that's what was so fun about it is like Dave was like feeling no pain. Kevin was on another planet. Jerry was pompous. Adam was pissed beyond belief. Donna was like bubbly, like, this is wonderful. Like, it was such a bizarre cast of characters. And then you have screaming child in a bed, Kay.
Yes, who's not even a child, it's a woman.
Well, I think the credit said sleeping girl.
Yes.
That's why I
Yeah.
said that. And then my dad, who was literally like, what do you want me to do? And we were like, just say something. So then once you asked him that last question that we did not prepare him for,
That's true. That's why
he was like, that's why he was like,
and the cut there is so great because he's just frozen and it cuts.
and he literally did that. Like there was no acting there. He was just so like, what the hell do you want me to say right now? Oh my God. Like he
You
froze.
didn't go over the part.
My mom, though, is such a ham.
Yeah,
Because you
she's
can
like,
see her be like,
"Hey!"
oh, the whole thing. I was like, I see you, Frank Caribbean. I see you trying to get
Jerry, did you remember the whole like it lingers part? Because that's like my favorite part of yours.
As soon as I saw it again, like that definitely seemed familiar. I was like, man, I remember like half of the stuff that I said, and I do remember like looking at my phone. And I was like, I remember that phone case. That's like one of the things that popped into my head.
You actually looked up that poem.
Okay. Yeah.
Like that was not something that we gave to you. You were like, wait a minute, I think I can come up with something. And then you like found that. But also, I'm pretty sure some part of that line made it to a t-shirt.
It lingers.
Either it lingers or moment it may be,
Yeah,
tiny it is not,
That's
or
a
something
t-shirt.
like
Oh,
that.
okay.
Yeah.
Because I remember somebody being like, I'd wear that. And I was like, well, okay, cool.
That's a great line. That's a great line.
Yes,
Full
that
entire
was my favorite line of his. I'd still wear that too.
Oh, man.
Oh,
That's funny.
Moment it may be, tiny it is not.
That
That's
definitely
what
a
she
t-shirt.
said.
That's what she.
She might have said that. Oh, that is
I
good.
think we're off topic here, friends. Just thinking out loud, you know.
Oh, man.
What's your feeling on it? Like now, looking at that 10 years, like what would you have done differently?
I would have mic'd me as well. I didn't have a second mic.
Yeah.
I also didn't think I would be talking as much as I ended up talking. But I was leading a lot of stuff, so I was like, I got to keep doing this because they're talking to me. So that's what led to a lot of the stuff happening. Was like it was a conversation. It wasn't just them like talking.
Yeah. Right.
Or I would have done subtitles on the bottom for my lines, but I would have mic'd me if I had a second mic. And then I don't know, like if we had time to go back and like look at it and then go back and like, oh, we have second day to shoot. Let's go back and do stuff. I would just like play with more stuff, just have more fun with it, you know. In some of the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Well, that to me is like just the beauty of SLTM films is just that all of them, you know, it's just like, that's it. We got this one opportunity. Basically, we're going to do it and it's going to happen and it's got to be published and out there and up for everybody to see in a week. That's it.
Yeah.
But
Great.
something that I thought about when we watched it last week, I don't even think I said this to you, was like, well, wait a minute. If Knight is working nonstop, how was he interviewed? Number one. And what are Donna and Jerry
I
doing?
mean, days.
Day, sorry. If Day,
Well, they're interviewed at
if
different
Day is
times.
working, right.
There's a few minutes when Dusk is working.
But why would
Dawn's
Dusk
working.
signals the night? What is Dusk doing?
It just gives him like a 15-minute break. Gives Day a 15-minute.
It's actually a half an hour break because Dusk goes to dawn to day to dusk because
really?
there's no night.
So you all worked this out. I'm just sitting here 10 years later, suddenly questioning the dynamics of it all.
Well, and Dusk wants Knight's job, so he'll hang out there longer to show that he can do it.
That's true.
Right?
He'll work overtime.
Yeah.
And I got to give him a buffer so that he can like actually do his job when.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's all worked out.
Okay.
There's a little leeway there. That's why he's so pissed off. He's like, "Can we just do this? Come on, let's do this." He even says like that. Well, I just cursed.
It's contagious.
He says at one point like that Dusk guy is gonna, he's gonna be stopped working. So he references that Jerry's character is working for a little bit. So.
Yep.
But yeah, I would basically just change like the sound and, just, I don't know, like knowing how it came out, just like egging people on even more possibly. And like Donna, like exploring maybe your character is like an angry jerk on the sly when the cameras go off. Possibly. Right. But that's really.
Or it could be meant like something like post credits, like, after it's like, oh, wow, she's so sweet. And all of a sudden it's just like, oh, we've done finishing this thing because I'm like really tired right now. You know what I mean? All of a sudden it's like, oh, and then cut.
Either that or like because Adam was talking about loving Glee.
Yes.
I think it would have been really funny if like Donna was singing along with Glee and then they got into a fight and she was like, "Do not try to tamp down my diva." And so it wouldn't have been just, it would have been like, "Hey now, stop yourself." Like, oh, I don't know. I could see it going there.
Yeah, there's so many things that you could play with that.
Yeah.
That's great.
A lot of opportunity for sure.
Seemed like Finding Night Part 2, some ideas there. What?
Finding Night Revisited.
After
The
watching
unedited footage.
unedited footage, there's probably still more footage.
Oh gosh.
After watching yourselves, is there anything that you wanted to do, could have done differently that you're like, oh, I wish I would have done this, or any thoughts about that?
I think it's so hard to say because it was improv, you know what I mean? That it's just like, I'm just glad that I was able to come up with words that came out of my mouth that actually sort of came off like funny and actually worked. So I'm thrilled. I'm going to leave it at that.
Just the honest rules of improv. I would have loved to have made more bold choices, like wear a pillowcase on my head or something. But that's it all in performance. In all honesty, like it, would be, like a second shot at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
See what would happen.
Well, but then again, we're also talking about like prep time. You know what I mean? This
Which
is
we
kind of
had very little of.
This wasn't one of those projects that offered a lot of prep time.
Yes.
But then that was also like, I think that was also the exciting thing too, just in general, not even just for this
the
film,
whole
but
project,
for all projects to come. That it was just like, it's always a challenge. It was great. Loved it.
Yeah, I remember thinking like every time you would send out whatever it was, so like obviously this one included, it would be like, and it was not very far in advance. So I remember going in going, I'm playing Dawn. What does that mean? What are those words?
Yeah. And in truth, it's funny because I'm just thinking like we had kind of said to Heart and Soul's cast that like it was a big ask, like trust us and just dance around with your feet and you're going to create this beautiful emotional story with just your feet. Best of luck to you. And then like with this cast, like we didn't ask, do you have prolific improv experience? Here's like a character chart that you're going to work off of for a couple of days. We were literally like, "Hi, nice to see you. Come on in, take off your coat. This is your character. And we'll be shooting in a half hour." So I think that's something in like talking to the casts, like as we do this, is going to be really interesting. Like, how much prep time did we actually give you? Were you shooting with other people? Like, I honestly don't even remember. Were we all together in the apartment when we were shooting? Like,
I think it was all around the same time.
We were around the same time. We overlapped. Actually, we were in at the same time.
Except I think we did some, and it might have been we did some Saturday and some Sunday because Dave's stuff was daytime.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we might have started early in the day with Dave and then did the stuff after. I don't remember exactly how that one went.
I don't know. It's
But
so
we did
funny
all the
because
interviews the same exact day. I know
all
that.
these things that like we thought, I think at some point in time we thought like, oh, we're not going to forget any of this stuff. It's so like indelibly impressed in our memories. And now I'm like, I don't even remember shooting that. Like, when did that happen?
Seriously.
Yeah.
And like one thing to piggyback on your thoughts about like just actors being like, can I have information? What are we doing? Like, I remember like after a while, people that were doing a few of them, they were like, yeah, whatever. Okay, I'm down. And they just showed up and like, what am I doing? Okay, cool. Or like, here's the script the day before. Cool. But then when someone new came into the works, like weeks in, they would have all these questions. And I'm thinking, why do you have so many questions? Like, just do it.
Just roll with it. Yep.
And it's funny because, I mean, you did have a lot of like actors, all the people in that are actors, and so I'm a person who loves prep and like loves to kind of get into the nitty gritty. And I was like, okay, I'm done. What?
Yeah. Yeah. This was me because like when I do anything like acting wise, it's like tons of prep work and research and thinking about stuff. If this was me, I'd be like, I'm not doing this.
You're like, I'm out.
Not gonna work.
You were in the movie.
Yes, and you see what happened. But if I had to play one of these characters, like I don't know. I don't think it would have went as well.
Yeah. So something that we had asked and had planned on asking in all of our Zooms with everybody is 10 years later, what has changed for you? Which you already kind of answered. You started out right at the gate with like, and now we're in Arizona. But the question is really like, what has changed and what has stayed the same?
Well, clearly our physical location has dramatically changed because we are no longer in New York on Long Island. We now live in Arizona now for 2 years plus. Career-wise, I'll say, like, for me, probably the same. I guess, had just become a part-time personal trainer only the year or two. I guess it was actually 2 years before. So yeah, so I mean, I guess everything is relatively similar, and I'm still in the staffing industry. That is my full-time gig. So work-wise has not really changed all that much. I don't know. Over to you, Donna.
Career-wise for me, I was working at Williams-Sonoma, and then I started doing a little bit more local theater, and then ended up booking Fiddler on the Roof, the national tour. And then after that, pretty much on the road several months out of the year, doing more performances of Menopause the Musical, and I'm working at Trader Joe's now. And just because of COVID, haven't even put an audition out there, haven't really done anything in that realm. They are performing out here a little bit, but I haven't dipped my toe in that pool just yet. So,
Yeah.
Well, you just kind of said what stayed the same. You talked about some of your career has changed, some of your career has stayed the same.
yeah. Definitely our living environment has changed.
It's been the biggest change, yeah, really.
And then we're 20 years married since the last time you saw us. So things are the same and things have changed.
It's
Yeah,
interesting
progress.
too, because we were talking to Matt and Kay last week, and they talked about, like, well, we were 20 and 21 when we shot this. Like, our lives have dramatically changed.
Yeah.
And we were kind of like, oh wow, we didn't really think about that. So we kind of talked about during that Zoom that, like, some of the actors were already, like, beyond the most, like, changing years of their life, right? So like pretty much 30 up is very different than in your 20s.
Yeah.
And
Right.
so we have some actors that are 30 plus that are going to be like, well, this changed and that changed. But for them, they're like, no, literally everything about my life has changed. So it's
Yeah.
really interesting to think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's life, right? That's life.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for being a part of this with us, not just tonight, but for that year and this last 10 years. It is just so nice to be able to catch up, and thank God for technology, because being that far away, just very sad.
It is so sad.
Definitely tough.
It is
Aw.
very nice to be able to have a reunion like this. And in truth, like this is not the first time that we've seen these guys, so we got to be honest about that. But it's still nice to get together and to be able to talk about the movies. And so we thank you for being a part of the journey.
Yes.
Well, we just want to say that we are still so impressed and proud of that accomplishment, because you guys definitely didn't know what you were in the undertaking of at that point. And I just remember it was probably about week 20 something.
I was gonna say, like, midway through. Yeah.
Not quite midway through, where you both were like, what were we thinking? We can't not complete this. We have to complete this. We've committed to it. And the fact that, like, with everything that's challenging and that you're staring in the face of and you want to back away from or quit or choose not to continue or put a pause on, you didn't. And you actually continued with it. And it is such an impressive undertaking, really. So we're so, so proud of you, and
Proud to have been a part of it.
I was about to say, appreciate being a part of it, and also witnessing you guys go through it and allowing us to kind of be there with you through it. Some of us more than others.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah. Well, the good, the bad, and the ugly, right?
You knew that speech was leading to that moment right there. I mean, come on now.
I thought we addressed this
Seriously.
35 minutes ago. But no.
We
Let's
already
take care
had
of
the
it in
airing of
post.
grievances.
Just take care of it in post. You're good.
Yeah, sure.
I only say that in jest because it's just so much fun to see your reaction. And maybe I love you a little bit. So that's a little bit.
Well,
I don't
thank you guys
judge anybody.
so much. Mwah.
We love you guys too.
We love you and goodbye.